Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I'm going bold today with my poop bun and my new makeup right after workout. But this week we're going to talk about macro tracking, which I'm really excited to talk about because last week I broke down macronutrients and micronutrients. So we talked about different sources for protein, carbs, and fats, and how those energy sources affect the body and what they do in the body. So this week will make a little bit more sense as far as the fitness side of macros. Okay, so to start it out, we're just going to talk about the definition of macro tracking. It's pretty simple. So macro tracking is either tracking or logging your food in the MyFitnessPal app or other macro tracking apps. And what these apps do is gives you a breakdown of how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats and total calories you have each day. So you know exactly where you're hitting for each macronutrient and total calories. That's it. Okay, next point. Why is macro tracking so important? So if you haven't watched my 7 to 9 videos before, I've talked about macro tracking in basically all of them. So if you have any aesthetic goal, if you're trying to build muscle, if you're trying to maintain your body composition, or if you're trying to tone and lose weight, you have to know where your calories sit. And the act of understanding where they sit and ensuring that they're on point every day comes into play with macro tracking. So macro tracking is how you get to those numbers and how you know you're on track to hit your goal for aesthetics. Okay, so we know macro tracking is important. We got that down. But next step is how can you find your macros? So macros are all going to be individualized. They're all going to be based on what you need and individual stats like age, height, weight, gender, how active you are on average throughout the week, and that breaks off into 2 parts. First part would be what are you doing for your workouts and how intense are they, and also how often are you going to the gym on average throughout the week. And then the second part would be what does your job require? Are you working a job where you're sitting at a desk all day, so lower activity level, or are you on your feet pretty frequently servicing appointments or maybe waiting tables? Maybe even construction work to where your activity level is a lot higher. So all of those factors come into play when figuring out your macros, and no 3 people are going to be the same. So all 3 people are going to have different numbers based on these stats. All right, so last topic. What are some advantages to macro tracking versus following a restrictive fad diet like keto or Atkins diet or Weight Watchers, or did I say paleo? Anyways, what are some advantages to macro tracking? Well, there's a lot because these numbers are based on you. So you don't have to cut out a specific macronutrient like Atkins diet. You can eat carbs and still lose pounds of fat. It's fantastic. It gives you flexibility. You can go on vacation and have full control over your calories, so you can fit in things that are amazing like pizza, other things that are amazing like margaritas. So you can strategize and fit in some of these foods that are notorious for being bad, because in a way they are if you eat too much of them. But macro tracking gives you the advantage to know how much of what you're getting each day, to where if you're on point and you're consistent with your macros 85 to 90% of the time, you can eat a piece of pizza or a burger guilt-free and be just fine as far as losing your inches. They're still going to melt off of you if you're consistent with your workout and with tracking. It is a beautiful thing. You do not have to cut out carbs. Keto and Atkins and all these fad diets, they work initially because you're restricting X amount of food, or you're taking out a specific macronutrient like carbohydrates. So clearly the factor there is you're restricting something, whereas macro tracking, you can incorporate all of the macronutrients, and these numbers, again, are based off of your stats to where you're going to get results. So, so many advantages, and if you guys have questions about this, shoot me a message. As you can see, I'm a super nerd, but I really do feel like macro tracking is the answer to all problems in life besides love and all that good stuff. So, yeah, advantages to macro tracking. Okay, so before I leave you guys for the week, quick recap. Macro tracking, there's many advantages, like I just mentioned, but these advantages can only happen if you're consistent. So about 4 weeks of being consistent with tracking is about that window where you'll start noticing change. 8 weeks, you'll start noticing some more obvious change, and then 12 weeks, you're gonna see some pretty awesome changes. So macro tracking only works if you're consistent. If you just have your numbers and you're like, I'm just gonna eat some pizza and drink margaritas, obviously it's not gonna do anything. So know that there's advantages, but also know there's a lot of work behind it.